space. So HP was very, very interested in building relationships with small businesses. And for those of you who market to small businesses, you understand that's a very difficult process for a big company to build a relationship with a small business. Small businesses are typically rather skeptical of big businesses. For them, it's the hardest thing in the world to imagine. How could a big company possibly understand what my world is all about? And so HP could have gone a couple different ways. They could have, and let me back up a step. They recognized that we had a very large audience of small business professionals on LinkedIn. They could have gone down the path of, hey, we want to create a community on LinkedIn that's all about HP. It's how great we are, and people come in and talk about how awesome they think we are. Or we could create a community that's all about them and what they care about and what matters to them. And we underwrite it. We make it possible for these small businesses to, again, build relationships with other small businesses to help them find the information and the insights that will help them in turn be successful. And so they built a platform on LinkedIn. They leveraged our group's platform called Small Biz Nation. And Small Biz Nation was moderated and managed by a former editor of Inc. magazine. So they wanted to make sure that they had someone in there who could really represent the voice of small business. They leveraged the targeting technology that we have to be able to invite small business professionals into that group. And it was interesting to see what happened. So there was one instance where someone asked a question, I'm a sole proprietor, and I would love to know, can I deduct my expenses? Can I deduct my cohort expenses on my taxes? And a few other people jumped in and said, I'm in the same exact boat here, and I'd love to know the answer to that. And an HP employee jumped into the conversation, and they said, we don't have the answer for you, but here are some links to a company called SCORE. SCORE provides free counseling to small businesses. I bet you'll find the answer there. And for everyone who participated in that conversation, for everyone who witnessed that conversation, they recognized that HP was really practicing what it was preaching in its marketing, that we are here to help small businesses. We are here to help you be successful and find ways to grow your business. Now later on, there were some real residual benefits. Someone posted a question to HP, I'm a real estate professional. Do you offer tablets? Tablet computers, I'd love to be able to run around and just have my contract signed right there on the spot. And a few other professionals jumped in and said, yes, as a matter of fact, I've seen other real estate professionals use HP tablets in the field. That opened the door for HP to come in and start talking about the products that were designed for real estate professionals. But that conversation became very organically, and then they stayed very organically. So that's a great example of how you really start to kind of prove that you are interested in what you're saying you're interested in doing in your marketing. Actually showcase the actions.
Mitch, in your world, brands are very interested in your platform, and many of them trying to figure out how to balance the social aspect of it with the discount or deals aspect. Can you talk a little bit about your advice as partners come to talk to you on that front?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that, Andy kind of hit the nail on the head. I think it really comes down to the quality of in our world, what the deal is. If it's something that's very compelling, that's a unique experience, that's handpicked, that it's something you don't see every day, then people are more likely to share it. Now, what we do incentivize people to share it in terms of almost like a game theory mentality. So once somebody would decide to purchase something from a brand, and this works for every brand that we're on, and they purchase only after they purchase, then they have the ability to share with a very unique URL that would track the friends that see it, and if 3 of their friends buy it, then they get their deal for free. So it's me plus 3 equals free. And it works amazingly well. And what's actually kind of unique is that every time I did this last week, I bought Mother's Day flowers. And when I posted my link, it would update me to say, okay, one of your friends just bought one, you only need 2 more.
After you shamed us all into the purchase.
That's right, I shamed you all. Thank you for all of you, including you, Elizabeth. I appreciate that. So once Elizabeth purchased, then off of my link, then I get another one, and I need to do 2 more. And then I get a second one, I'm going to post to Twitter. Or I'll start to leverage my network a little bit more, and then it keeps track of it in this game theory mentality to encourage me to play and have fun and become competitive. And yes, my mom called and she said, I was so surprised to get flowers from you from FTP. But yes, creating a game with fun factors.
And to add on to the examples that you gave, obviously social is such an important part of marketing communications, but it is just one part. So I'd love all of you to share examples, and maybe David, starting with you, based on the variety of media you
whole project was based on engaging audience on all these platforms. And, we pitched it to our brand partners as such, and talked obviously with great passion about opening up the process and being transparent and being collaborative. And we couldn't very well then say, now we're going to tell you exactly what you need to do. So we had to extend that same ethos to the partners as well. And Andy talked about it a little bit before. If you want the quality to be high, it's not easy. There's a lot of it's labor intensive. We're not just placing banner ads. We were trying to custom design for our brands as much as we were for the consumer, for our audience. So between AT&T, Amex, Mazda, there was a different level of what they wanted to do with platforms. They were on all our platforms, they were branded on all our platforms, but focused on Mazda. Wanted to be very much integrated in the show. Wanted the audience to decide how they were going to be integrated in the show. Amex wanted to push the music aspect, so they sort of owned the music studio, the audience sort of scoring and soundtrack, music supervision of the show. AT&T did text polling, and yes, it sort of celebrated the creativity of the audience. So there's a different component for each on all the various platforms. And the great thing, when you open this up in that dialogue, is you have opportunities to hear great things back, and you have to deal with the good and the bad at various points. But it was very cool, when we pushed the Mazda integrations before the season started and asked for the audience contribution. And one day we got an email from a guy who was one of our core community members saying, "Oh my God, I just bought a Mazda 2 because I decided that you guys were talking about so much, I had to check it out. It's a cool car." And they say that to the entire community. And you have that opportunity for that kind of example. And then one of our actors, William Sanderson, a great character actor, Blade Runner and Daryl and the New Heart Show, and lots of other great stuff. He then sent a photo of his 1975 Mazda. So the whole conversation around the brand, from the actor community to what we were obviously doing to support that brand communication, kind of hit all the levels that everyone involved, which is very cool to see.
Awesome. Steve, you
I want to reference back to something that Tom mentioned earlier, which was this concept of people at the center. And that applies not only to the people who you want to connect with as customers, it also applies to your own employees. And for a lot of companies, especially those in the service space, your employees are your product. They're certainly one of your most valuable assets, but in many cases, they are your product. But even in cases where they're not so, I've been involved in a couple purchase decisions at LinkedIn, and the brand that we did business with was really important, and the product they were selling us was really important. But so were the people that we would be working with during and after that purchase. That played an incredibly important role. And so what we started to notice are a lot of companies recognizing that in the past, it has been incredibly difficult to bring our employees into the conversation. We can show them in kind of a commercial we run, but let's face it, everyone gets pretty skeptical of that, right? Like, oh, that's a paid actor. I'm sure those are looking at real employee. Social platforms now give you the opportunity to build connections between your employees and your customers. And it's really true that on a platform like LinkedIn, where the default behavior is to, again, broadcast yourself and build relationships in this context. So we've seen marketers start to do a couple of things. Run advertising where in the ad itself it features an employee, and when you click that ad, it goes back to their LinkedIn profile, where immediately now the customer can see, wow, okay, we have some things in common. We worked at the same company, or we know a few people in common, or we went to the same university. That's suddenly a much warmer relationship now than simply a kind of fill out the fields and off it goes, who knows who's going to get back in touch with you. The second thing we've seen is our marketers actually leveraging the profile page itself. That if someone's viewing the profile of one of your employees, why not use the advertising space on that page? You should say a little bit about what you do. Specifically as it lays out, like we do this. If you go to look at my profile, you would see an ad, depending on if you're a marketer, you're going to see an ad targeted to you based on our marketing solutions. If you were a salesperson, we show you our subscriptions. If you are a recruiter, we show you our recruiting products. But we recognize that if you're looking at our employees, chances are you're interested in doing business with us, and that's a great opportunity. It just hasn't really existed before. We'll leverage your employees and bring them front and center in the market.
Thanks, Steve. So Mitch, when you think about the promotional piece that you're talking about with your partners, but then being able to leverage those in other media, what are those conversations and opportunities like?
I think typically when you think about LivingSocial, you're thinking about the daily deals, but what it truly is about is LivingSocial. So we actually created another division by a company that was all about offline adventures. So we create these amazing experiences. I'll give you an example. We did one Canadian for a day, and it was not Canadian for the letter A day, it was Canadian for EH day. And it was fun. You actually rented out ice skating rinks, and you actually go to the ice skating rink, and somebody teaches you how to curl. I always like that. And you could shoot pucks on goal with hockey. There's Molson beer. It was a total experience it was a night out in town. And it was completely social, and there's no real reason why a brand couldn't experience that. So you can envision, we're in 30 markets now with adventures. Why couldn't it be a country music festival and a Piedmont Park in Atlanta, Georgia, and Bryant Park in New York City, and Ram Truck sponsors it. And there's no real reason why you can't create those experiences in an offline world. And then we sell tickets to it online to come at a great deal. So there's this complete 360 kind of experience about how you can really leverage the platform and have a great fun time. Now social in that respect becomes a little bit different. It's not purely about sharing the fact that I'm going to go buy a ticket to this great event. It's now the photos I take with my cell phone. It's the watermark pictures that we take with pictures of a step and repeat, LivingSocial, another brand. There's all these different aspects that start to come into play about how you can really create this fun thing to do with an advertiser.
Awesome. I think we're a little tight on time, so I just want to make sure if any folks in the audience have questions for the panelists that we have a minute. Anybody questions for this esteemed group of social experts up here in some white furniture? So until mics get circulated, maybe just one last question. We talked about digital being so demanding and so quick turnaround times and all of that, but social, we see trends pop up and just wane incredibly quickly. So how do brands stay on top of that, make sure that their messaging is appropriate for events that happen or the social kind of buzz that's going on? Anybody, I think Andy, you have some thoughts on this?
Yeah, the crazy thing about the news is that it's always new, and you don't know what it's going to be, and it might be Osama hitting Osama one day, or it might be Tucson the next day, or it might be this crazy fad. And there's an incredible amount of virality with news stories, and advertisers need to let go a little bit, in my opinion, to say, okay, look, I don't know exactly what I'm sponsoring, but I want to be involved with social phenomenon, and I want to bring the news to people. And it takes letting go. It means ceding a little bit of control. But I think if advertisers do that, from a media buying perspective, it's amazing because, if you're a news site, you're basically forecasting flat traffic, and then a huge story hits, and there's all this extra goodness that an advertiser can take care of. So from a media buying perspective, it's actually a great strategy. This is foreshadowed. Our next presenter is a guy named Jonah Peretti, who is working at a company called BuzzFeed. He's a co-founder of the Huffington Post, and his whole business model is finding things that are cool online and juicing them so they go viral. So he's trying to put a science to virality, but in a sense, he's just finding cool stuff and promoting it online and trying to get advertisers to be a part of that.
I think on that, Andy, the point around the content and being vigilant about it, the hard part is understanding which of your constituencies are making the noise and how important those constituencies are. With Twitter, it's hard to do that sometimes. We created a tool, maybe you guys have seen it, called Signal, where we've matched up the Twitter fire hose with LinkedIn data. So now you can say, okay, well, I'm only interested in what are certain people in certain industries tweeting about, or people in certain companies. It was pretty revealing. I remember looking at when the Gap logo thing was kind of off the charts. Noticing that, a lot of people were detracting, but a lot of people, like designers, actually thought it was a pretty good design. They thought they were pretty positive. But when you're just looking at this anonymous stream, the assumption is, oh, everyone hates it. And a lot of times when you do a little bit of digging, you'll realize that the people who maybe are most important to you aren't the ones who are making the negative noise, and you need to make a choice. How much do we now shift based on a consistency that ultimately is not meaningful to our business?